Welcome to Exploring the World of Business and Economics, Chapter 1. Thank you for watching this video. In this video, we are going to discuss these following key topics. First, what is a business? Second, relationship between sales, revenue, and profits. Third, key topics about economics. 4, types of economic systems. 5, some general foundations of capitalism. 6, key indicators of economic growth. 7, types of competition. And 8, business environments. So let's get started. First, when we talk about the concept of business, we talk about this graph. In this graph, we can see all these different wheels or cogs working together in a very organized way. So when we talk about a business, we can see that this graph represents the concept of a business, because a business is an organized effort of individuals that they come together to produce and sell goods and services for a profit. And these goods and services are meant to satisfy a need in the society. So when we talk about a business, 3 key components need to be present in any business. First, we talk about an organized effort. Second, we talk about that this organized effort serves and satisfies a need in a society, and there is a profit or a difference between sales and expenses. So, of course, there are different types of businesses, okay? And there are businesses that satisfy a bigger or a smaller need, and there are businesses that have larger or smaller profits. But we can expect these 3 key components in any business. So here, this is a graph that is taken from the book. And here is meant to represent the 4 different resources that are fundamental in any business. First, human resources. Second, material resources, financial resources, and informational resources. They are all contributing to the development and the production of these services and products in exchange for a profit. So what is the relationship between sales, revenues, and profits? So here we have this graph also from the book, in which we can see that sales or revenue is equal to expenses plus profit. So that's when we see this equation at the end, in which sales revenue is equal to expenses plus profit. Another term for profit is called the bottom line. This is sort of new concept that is called the triple bottom line, and it refers to sustainable businesses. Why the triple bottom line? As the name suggests, there are 3 things: people, profit, and planet, or being environmentally friendly. So companies that want to be sustainable want to achieve higher profit while conserving the environment and treating respectfully and fairly all the people that are working for them and they are touched by the company. That is called the triple bottom line. These 3 aspects are all together working towards the development of sustainable economy. This, of course, is not easy. This is in some cases, very difficult for companies to achieve a balance, because in some circumstances, when you want to increase your profits, then you perhaps are incurring in higher expenses, and therefore you have to save, and you might not be using the right supplies, and therefore you might be polluting the environment, or you are trying to reduce the salary of the people. But the companies that achieve a balance between these 3 important areas in the organization, they can also enjoy some benefits because nowadays society wants to have this type of businesses. But here the message is that balancing these three areas is not easy for companies, but companies that manage to do that are companies that are called sustainable. An example of a company that wants to achieve this triple bottom line could be Tesla, because Tesla, part of the value proposition of Tesla is to develop products that are environmentally friendly while creating profits and treating fairly all the people inside the company. But once again, this is not easy to achieve. But if companies can do it, companies are becoming sustainable and the economy as a whole could become more sustainable. Regarding key definitions in economics, we talk about economics as a field of study of how wealth or anything that is valuable is created and distributed. Usually, we talk about two levels in economics. One is microeconomics, or what is related to individuals and businesses. Now, all the decisions about what to produce, what to buy, how to save, how much to save, how to consume, what to consume, and so on, as microeconomics. The other one is macroeconomics and is related to the study of national economy and the global economy. And what is economy? Well, economy is the system through which a society creates and distributes wealth. A very important topic in economics is this concept of economic systems. So here we see that an economic system can be organized in this continuum between very little governmental control to a very high levels of control by the government. When we talk about economies that are not controlled by the government, we talk about what is called free market economies. In contrast, when we talk about economies that are controlled by the government in a very, very intense and heavy way, we talk about centrally planned economies. Somewhere in between is what is called mixed economies. As the name suggests, the mixed economy are economies in which you can see some aspects of the free economy, but at the same time there is a control by the government in different activities. The examples that I have here in this graph are also located in this continuum. Here we talk about, on the left side, the location of pure market economy, meaning free market economies, and in the right side is called pure command economies or centrally planned economies. So we see here that United States is one of the first ones closer to the pure market economy or the free economy. Then it comes Mexico, Sweden, Russia, showing more aspects of the command economy, then mainland China and North Korea, very, very close to what is called pure command economy. There are 4 types of factors of production, and by factors of production, we talk about inputs that are used in the production of goods and services. The 4 typical factors of production are called natural resources and land, labor or physical and mental effort, capital, non-natural resources, and entrepreneurship, an enterprise, which is the idea that people take risks, time, resources in order to operate a business to have a impact in the society. So when we talk a little bit more about economic systems, there is an important difference between these mixed economies and command economies in how these systems answer to these three questions: what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. In a mixed economy, we talk about economies in which what to produce is answered by consumer preferences and, of course, partly protected and guided by the government. The second question, how to produce, here in the mixed economy is partly determined by producers seeking profits and again by the government. And for whom to produce is determined partially by purchasing power and partially by government preference. In contrast, in a command economy, the answer is given by the government. In these three questions, we see a higher presence of the government choosing and deciding what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. In the mixed economy, there is a very important kind of values that are the foundation of how business and people and the economy operates. One of these is this concept of free enterprise, in which individuals are free to decide what to produce, how to produce it, and at what price to sell it. Here we have economists, philosophers, and thinkers from the last couple of centuries trying to understand and trying to promote this type of values in what is called capitalism. Adam Smith is considered the founder of modern economics. Here I don't want to go too in detail, but I just want to bring key concepts that are behind capitalism. One is this idea of consumption. So in this quote, we see one of the key ideas behind capitalism. Consumption is the sole end and purpose of all production, and the interests of the producer ought to be attended to, only so far as it may be necessary for promoting that of the consumer. Another key concept behind capitalism is this French concept called laissez-faire, which translated into English means let do. The concept behind laissez-faire is there is no need for government intervention or intervention in how business operates. From the book, we can see these four assumptions behind laissez-faire. One is the right to create wealth, right to own private property and resources, the idea that people and companies can own things in a private way. It's not public, but it's privately owned. The economic freedom and freedom to compete, and the right to limit government intervention. Finally, in this graph, we can see how a mixed economy can work. We have these five actors, resource markets on the one hand, on the other one, businesses, product markets, households, and governments. So we can see that this cycle starts with the households that are the owners and provide businesses with natural resources, labor, and capital. Households are also consumers who use their income to purchase the goods and services from resource markets and product markets. Today, for instance, households purchase approximately 2/3 of our national total production. The other cycle is, for instance, businesses. Businesses purchase households' natural resources, labor, and capital, and use these resources to produce goods and services that are exchanged for sales revenue. This revenue is exchanged once again for householders' resources. In this last graph, I wanted to show what is called the Index of Economic Freedom. And it's an interesting index because here we can see different countries having different levels of economic freedom. In this current time, it's very interesting things are happening. We see the changes in United States with the current president, what is happening in Europe, and what is happening in China, in many different countries. This exact question is being discussed: how much freedom is needed in order to economies being able to satisfy the needs of their people. This question is not answered yet, so we are going to be discussing about this in the class.